I think the biggest question, why are you running?
We've got to make changes in the United States Senate, Bowen. The all the work that we continue to pass in the House of Representatives goes to the Senate to die. We passed the domestic energy legislation. We passed the most comprehensive and conservative border security and immigration legislation. We passed the National Defense Act. We actually passed, before Speaker McCarthy messed it up, we passed a budget debt ceiling piece of legislation that actually reduced spending and put a cap on the debt ceiling. All of these things have gone to the Senate to die. What we have shown is that with a small group of committed, principled conservatives in the House of Representatives, we've been able to bring the conference over and get this work done. But then it goes to the Senate to die. And they need that additional support if we're going to keep Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer from destroying this agenda that America needs passed right now.
And something else I'm really curious about is why enter the race now?
So we wanted to take our time. I talked to my family, didn't have a lot of time to really sit down and discuss it with them until we went over the Christmas break. And after I sat down and spoke with my family over the Christmas break, we wanted to gauge the support across the state. I went out a couple of weeks ago and did a bunch of events with Matt Gaetz. He came in from Florida, and we basically had overcapacity crowds in Bozeman. We had overcapacity crowds in Helena, over by Billings. Did several events, and the legislators and the sheriffs and the county commissioners and the private citizens that have come out and just encouraged me to run for office. They say, look, we see the way that you campaign and you serve. You're one of the few people that actually serves the way that you campaign. And we would like to see you run for the United States Senate so that we can see a lot of these things you've been working on actually get passed.
And, I think the other question is, what is the difference between you and Shei?
Broad differences. I'm going to keep it at a very high level, though. Basically, I've got a long record of supporting the conservative movement, supporting the conservative agenda, not just talking about it. And unfortunately, Tim Sheehy has never cast a vote. And so we would have to be hoping that he would do a good job in the United States Senate. Meanwhile, he would be there for 6 years. This is assuming that he could actually defeat Jon Tester. And so what we have to do is look at his body of work. His corporate documents has shown he supports DEI standards. He supports the ESG standards, that he actually profited off of the whole climate change issue. He wanted to send American troops to Ukraine while I was trying to keep America from getting engaged in that. But I think what's really disturbing the most is when you come out and try to pretend that you're one thing. Like when we had the opportunity to vote against the electors in January of 2021 because there were problems with the elections, I voted against the electors. And within days, Tim Sheehy was sending checks to Nikki Haley to run for president. Thereafter, when Alvin Bragg came forward and brought these bogus charges against President Trump and was trying to indict him, I literally went to Mar-a-Lago and stood with President Trump while he was doing his announcement that evening, his speech that evening. And Tim Sheehy was funding Tim Scott's campaign for the president of the United States against President Trump. So you can't profess to be an ally and trying to get President Trump's agenda moved forward at the exact same time that you're funding campaigns against him.
And, another thing that I saw recently that I wanted to talk to you about is I saw that Speaker Mike Johnson sort of backpedaled his plans to endorse you. And I just wanted to know, what's your response to that?
Sure. I'm glad you brought that up, Bowen, because what that does show is just the reach of the swamp. Mike Johnson and I have a strong relationship. We've been friends before he was the Speaker of the House, and we had a couple of texts back and forth that he was going to endorse me just the end of this week. And my goodness, the staffers found out about that, shared that with the Senate committee, and the Senate committee went anaphylactic over the thought that I was going to have the speaker's endorsement. And look, he has a political landscape to maneuver through to get our agenda moved forward that I am supportive of and I am understanding of. And so Speaker Johnson came out yesterday and said, number one, I'm still supportive of Matt Rosendale. Number two, I'll still financially be supporting Matt Rosendale. And I said, that's all we need. So Speaker Johnson and I still have I assure you, a very strong relationship.
Excellent. And your entry is setting the GOP up for a primary battle many had hoped to avoid. But why do you think that's a battle worth fighting?
I think the Senate committee made this decision a long time ago. They came out with a statement that said that they were looking for self-funders. They literally came out and said that that was their main criteria when they were trying to recruit candidates for the United States Senate, that they could be self-funders, that they could pay for their own campaign. I think the people across the state of Montana deserve more than that. I think that the criteria should be that it's someone who represents our values. It's somebody who shares our principles, somebody who's going to actually stand up and fight for the people across the state of Montana, not somebody who can just self-fund. So I'm not really the one who's made this difficult. The Senate committee, Mitch McConnell, has decided that he would prefer to be the minority leader than he would be the majority leader, as long as he can maintain his status as the leader of the Republicans.
And I'm maybe looking a little too far ahead into the future, but do you have any idea how you're going to approach this campaign?
Oh, sure. I'm going to get more votes than the next guy. That's how you win races. I've been elected statewide several times now. So the people across the state of Montana, they know who I am. They know that they can trust me, and they know that I'm putting their interests first. And so we've won statewide several times. Heck, my last election, while I didn't have the entire state, I had 41 of the counties, and 3 of them typically vote Democrat. I won all 41 counties, Bowen, and I won by 35 points. So the margin of victory that and support that I have across the state, I think it speaks for itself.
Matt, I think that's everything I needed today. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Anything I forgot to ask?
No, I think we're in good shape.
Excellent. And before I let you go, I'm not sure if you remember, my boss promised me a pizza if I got you to announce you were running. We'll get them next time. But
all right, we'll get them next time, buddy.
Yeah,